police made 2 arrests within 24 hours of Nevaeh's abduction. George Kennedy, a convicted felon who was believed to be dating Nevaeh's mother, was arrested for a parole violation on May 25th. George had a rap sheet that included a 1998 conviction for statutory rape against a person under 16 years of age. He was arrested and convicted in 2002 for breaking into a home and attempting to sexually assault a 13-year-old. He pled guilty to the charges and served time in prison. Rumours have it that Nevaeh referred to George as Daddy George. Her birth father, Shane Hinojosa, hadn't seen her since she was 2. The second man arrested that day was George's friend Roy Lee Smith. George introduced Roy to Jennifer and he spent a lot of time with her and Nevaeh at her apartment. Like George, Roy was a convicted felon. He was convicted of rape and spent 15 years in prison for the crime. He had only been out on parole for a year when Nevaeh disappeared. Jennifer was criticised for hanging around sex offenders with her young daughter. In response, Jennifer acknowledged that she was aware of both George and Roy's criminal history, but believes they should get a second chance. She further defended herself by stating that she was never left Nevaeh alone with either man. At the beginning of the investigation into the kidnapping, both George and Roy looked like excellent suspects, especially after police searched George's van, which was often used by Roy. In the van, they found a bloody tool. In the motel George stayed in, investigators found a bloody towel and sexually suggestive photos of younger girls. Over 500 tips poured in the days immediately following Nevaeh's abduction, but none of them led to finding the little girl. As the days went by, hope began to fade that she would be found alive. In addition to testing of the DNA on the tool and towel showed the blood source did not come from Nevaeh. There was no evidence linking either man to her abduction. On June 5th, 10 days after Nevaeh was last seen, Guy Bigley and his son were fishing up and down River Basin in Monroe. The area was known to locals as a popular fishing spot. After about 2 hours, Guy smelled something foul. The smell became overwhelming. Then he noticed mossy mud was on top of it. In digging up the block, they found the body of Nevaeh encased in it. Later, they determined her killer had incorrectly mixed the cement. As a result, as it hardened, Nevaeh's body floated towards the top of the cement, leaving an imprint of her body on the surface. Nevaeh was found wearing the clothes she disappeared in, with no outside signs of abuse or violence. Hair strands of Nevaeh were found in the mud above the concrete, and a pushed beer can was located either in the concrete or near it. It took almost a month for the autopsy report to be completed. The results indicated that Nevaeh's cause of death was asphyxiation. Her face had been pushed in the mud, and based on the concrete imprint, she struggled with her as he poured the concrete on her. Her nose, windpipe and lungs were filled with dirt. Authorities didn't say whether or not Nevaeh was sexually assaulted. According to Reddit comments, Nevaeh was not raped but brought to the river Raisin to be murdered. Nevaeh was buried in St. Joseph's Cemetery. Hundreds of people attended her funeral and released balloons. Surprisingly, after her body was found, the case seemed to fizzle out. Years went by with the police releasing no information or updates to the public. The community continued to honour Nevaeh's memory by holding marches, donations and drives in her name. A group called Justice for Nevaeh led most of these events. After almost 5 years, the police released some updates in 2014 about Nevaeh's murder. They stated that they have a new person of interest, and it is neither George Kennedy nor Roy Lee Smith. Although they wouldn't release the suspect's name, they did say that, as of 2014, he was in his mid-30s, serving 10 years for domestic violence, and was born and raised in the Monroe, Michigan area. In addition, this man was a troubled child who came from a dysfunctional family. He was repeatedly suspended from school and eventually expelled. He never graduated from high school. Since 2014, there have been no further updates on who killed Nevaeh. As of November of 2020, her case remains unsolved. And that brings us to the end of today's case. It is a very frustrating one because we all wish that